Before we begin, tell me what city are you watching from? Because I might have a terrifying story that happened near your town. And please, subscribe, turn on the bell, and like this video. Don't skip this story, because the ending will leave you frozen. It was just after midnight when I left the diner off Route 97. The air was heavy with that humid kind of silence you only feel when the world is asleep. My old Ford pickup rattled down the empty highway, headlights cutting through the darkness. I had driven that stretch 100 times before, but that night felt different. The road looked longer, the shadows deeper. About 10 minutes in, I noticed something out of pale figure standing by the guardrail. A woman. A white dress clung to her, soaked from the drizzle that had started earlier. Primera slowed down, thinking maybe her car had broken down. She didn't move when I pulled over. She just stood there, airbag tome head tilted slightly to the side. Like she was listening, I rolled down the window. "Ma'am, are you okay?" Nothing. The rain picked up, pattering against the roof. I hesitated, then got out. My boots squelched against the wet asphalt as I stepped closer. She was barefoot. Her hair was tangled and dark, dripping water down her shoulders. When I was close enough to reach out, she finally turned. Her eyes weren't right. They were glassy-like. She wasn't really seeing me, or anything at all. Her mouth opened slowly, and for a second, I thought she was about to say something, but then she turned away and started walking straight into the woods. "Wait, you shouldn't go in there," I called after her. She didn't respond. She just slipped between the trees and vanished. I stood there for a while, the rain soaking through my jacket, listening to the hum of the engine behind me and the soft rustle of leaves ahead. Something about that moment made my stomach twist. I don't know why, but I couldn't just leave. I followed her. The woods were pitch black, and the sound of my own breathing seemed too loud. I kept calling out, but the only thing I heard was the echo of my own voice. After a few minutes, I saw her again. She was standing by an old drainage ditch, staring down into it. Her white dress looked gray in the moonlight. When I took another step forward, she turned her head just enough, but I saw her face again. That's when I realized her skin wasn't just pale. It was grayish blue, like someone who'd been in the cold water for too long. I froze. My voice caught in my throat. "Are you all right?" She smiled, but it wasn't a human smile. Her lips stretched too wide, and I heard a faint, wet crack like her jaw had unhinged. Then, without a word, she stepped into the ditch and disappeared. I rushed forward. The ditch was empty, just muddy water running through a rusted pipe. No footprints, no sign of air, nothing. By the time I stumbled back to my truck, I was shaking so hard I could barely hold the keys. My headlights flickered as I started the engine. I drove off faster than I should have, glancing in the rearview mirror every few seconds. That's when I saw her, standing in the middle of the road, maybe 100 yards behind me. The same woman. Her dress clung to her body, dripping, her head tilted just like before. I blinked and she was closer. My heart was pounding. I floored it, but every time I looked in the mirror, she was there. Sometimes on the shoulder, sometimes right in the middle of the lane, always facing my truck. It didn't make sense. Finally, I slammed on the brakes at a gas station about 15 miles later. The attendant must have seen my face because he came running out. "You okay, buddy?" he asked. I nodded, trying to catch my breath. "There's a woman out there, back on the highway. I think she needs help." His expression changed. He glanced toward the dark stretch of road behind me and shook his head slowly. "White dress?" he asked. I froze. "Yeah," he sighed. "You're not the first to see her." He told me that 20 years ago, a young woman had crashed her car off Route 97 on her way home from her wedding. The car was never found, just her bail tangled in the guardrail where I'd first seen her. Local says she still wanders the highway, looking for the man who left her waiting at the altar. I didn't believe him, not really, until I looked down at the wet pavement beside my truck. There were footprints, bare, small, leading right up to my driver's door, and stopping there. I didn't sleep that night. Even now, whenever I drive past that stretch of Route 97, My hands gripped the wheel a little tighter, because sometimes, out of the corner of my eye, I swear I see her again standing just beyond the guardrail, waiting. I've driven long-haul trucks for almost 15 years, and I've seen just about everything you can imagine on those endless stretches of asphalt. Dear drunk drivers, even tornadoes in the distance. But there's one night I'll never forget, and I wish I could. It was somewhere in western Kansas, around 2:30 a.m. The sky was moonless, the air thick and still. The kind of night where your headlights only reach far enough to remind you how empty everything else is. I was hauling a load of construction equipment, trying to make up time after a delay. The radio had gone to static hours ago, so it was just the hum of the engine and the faint rattle of tools in the back. Then, out of nowhere, I saw headlights in my mirrors, two bright circles cutting through the dark behind me. At first, I thought it was just another truck catching up. But something felt off. The lights stayed perfectly aligned with mine, never getting closer, never falling behind. For nearly 20 miles, they kept the same exact distance. I flipped on my turn signal and took the next exit, thinking maybe they'd pass. They didn't. The headlights followed, slow and steady, down the narrow country road that curved away from the highway. That's when I started to feel uneasy. I tried slowing down 10 under the limit. Then the lights behind me dimmed, as if whoever it was matched my every move. When I sped up again, they did too. Always the same distance apart. After a few minutes, I picked up my CB radio and called out, hoping it was another driver playing a joke. "Breaker, this is Freightliner on Route 60. Anyone behind me right now?" Static. Then, after a few seconds, a voice came through. Low, distorted. "Keep driving." I froze. "Who is this? Primera? Ask it." Silence. Then the sound of breathing, slow, wet breathing, like someone was right next to the mic. Then the voice said it again, clearer this time. "Don't look back." I threw the mic down and focused on the road, my pulse slamming in my ears. The asphalt stretched ahead like a tunnel of black glass. I could still see the headlights behind me, unwavering. Then the truck's engine began to sputter. The RPMs dropped. My dashboard lights flickered once, twice, then went dead. The entire rig started slowing on its own, no matter how hard I pressed the pedal. I coasted onto the shoulder, swearing under my breath. The air outside felt strange, too quiet, too heavy. I could hear the ticking of the cooling engine, and that was it. I looked up at my mirrors. No headlights. The road behind me was empty, completely dark. For a moment, I thought maybe I'd imagined the whole thing. I got out with my flashlight, popped the hood, and started checking cables. Everything looked fine. I was just about to climb back in when I heard gravel crunch behind me. I swung the light around. Nothing there. Then I heard it again, closer. Slow, deliberate footsteps, circling the trailer. My hand was shaking so hard the beam bounced across the side panels. "Hello?" I called out. "Who's there?" No answer. Then the trailer door creaked. Just a little, like something inside had shifted. I climbed back into the cab and slammed the door, locking it. My heart was hammering so hard it hurt. I turned the key again, and thank God the engine roared back to life. The dashboard lit up. The radio crackled. Everything seemed fine again. I looked at the rearview mirror. The headlights were back. But this time they were much closer. Maybe 20 feet behind me. I could see the outline of the vehicle, now a massive black Samaya with no markings. Its engine rumbled low, too deep, almost growling. I hit the gas. My tires screamed as I pulled back onto the highway. The other truck followed immediately, its high beams flooding my mirrors. I couldn't see a driver, just darkness behind the windshield. For the next 30 miles, that truck stayed inches from my bumper, no matter how fast I went. I tried calling for help on the CB again, but the static was so loud it drowned everything out. Then the voice came back. "Keep driving." I nearly lost control. At mile marker 178, I saw a rest area ahead and made a split-second decision. I slammed the brakes, veered off the ramp, and rolled into the parking lot. Tires screeching. When I looked behind me, expecting the other truck to follow it, was gone. Not slowing down, not turning away. Just gone. I sat there for a long time, breathing hard, watching the road. A few other drivers came through later that night, but none of them saw a black semi. I even called Highway Patrol the next morning. They said no trucks matching that description had been logged on that route in over a decade. Here's the part that still keeps me up. A week later, when I stopped at a way station near Oklahoma, the inspector looked confused after checking my paperwork. He said, "You've got an extra log entry here." "What do you mean?" "Primera, ask it." He turned the clipboard around. Someone had signed my log at 3:14 a.m. on the night of that drive. My signature, except it wasn't mine. And right next to it, in small, perfect letters, was a message: "Keep driving." I switched routes after that. To this day, I won't touch Route 60 again. And when I'm on the road alone at night, every time I glance in the mirror, I half expect to see those twin headlights again, waiting in the dark. It was late September when it happened. I was driving home from a weekend camping trip. The kind of trip that leaves you tired in a good way, smelling like smoke and pine, half dreaming of your own bed. The highway was empty. The sky an endless blanket of gray. Rain had been falling on and off all day, just enough to blur the edges of the world. Around 11 p.m., I reached the long stretch of Highway 42 that cuts through the hills. That part of the road has always felt lonely. No lights, no gas stations, not even a signal for miles. I had the wipers going full speed when I saw it, a figure standing on the overpass ahead. At first, I thought it was a deer or maybe a trick of the rain, but as I got closer, I realized it was a child, a small boy, no older than 10, standing right on the edge of the bridge, facing the highway. Primera slowed down, rolled the window halfway. The rain hissed against the glass, and the sound of my tires sloshing through puddles echoed across the empty road. The boy didn't move. His head hung low, his shoulders shaking. Was crying. I pulled over under the bridge, grabbed my flashlight, and stepped into the rain. It hit my face like ice. "Hey buddy," I called. "You okay up there?" No answer. I started climbing the embankment, my boots slipping in the mud. When I reached the top, the beam of my flashlight cut through the darkness. He was still there, barefoot, wearing what looked like pajamas, soaked to the bone. His skin looked pale, almost bluish in the cold light. "Are you lost?" I asked, taking a cautious step closer. He didn't look at me, just kept crying softly. I noticed something strange. His clothes looked old, like something from the 1980s. "Where are your parents?" I asked again, my voice trembling. He finally turned, and that's when I realized his eyes weren't reflecting the light, just black voids, swallowing the beam completely. My throat tightened, and every instinct screamed at me to back away. Then, in the smallest voice I've ever heard, he whispered, "Don't go down there." My heart dropped. "What do you mean?" He looked over the edge of the bridge. "They're still waiting." Before I could ask who, he turned and ran straight into the dark woods beyond the bridge. I chased after him without thinking. Branches whipped against my face, mud splashing up my jeans. "Hey! Wait!" I shouted. But he was too fast. I followed the sound of his crying deeper into the trees until it suddenly stopped. Silence. I swept my flashlight in circles. Breath. Raid. That's when I saw something through the trees, a faint light, low to the ground. I crept closer until I realized what it was. A car. It was upside down in a shallow ravine, its front crushed against a rock. The headlights flickered weakly through the rain. My heart sank. When I saw the license plate, it was rusted, coated in grime, but the tag had expired 30 years ago. I stumbled closer, my boots sinking into the wet soil. Inside the car were 3 figures: a man, a woman, and a small boy in the back seat. His head leaned against the shattered window. His face, it was the same boy from the bridge. The same pajamas, the same dark, empty eyes. I stumbled back, nearly falling, my flashlight slipping from my hand. It rolled into the mud, beams spinning wildly across the wreck. The boy in the car turned his head, slowly, like he'd heard me. His mouth opened, and a faint sound rose above the rain. Crying. I ran. I don't even remember how I got back to the road, but when I reached my car, my hands were shaking so badly I dropped the keys twice. I sped off, tires screeching against the wet pavement. When I looked in the rearview mirror, the overpass was shrinking and the distance empty now. Or at least, I thought it was, until I saw him again. Standing right on the shoulder this time, just beyond my taillights watching me go. By the time I reached the next town, it was past midnight. I stopped at a diner, soaked and shaking, and told the night manager what I'd seen. She froze halfway through, pouring coffee. "You saw him too," she said quietly. I blinked. "What do you mean?" She sat down across from me and told me about an accident back in 1993. Family was driving that same highway when they lost control in the rain. Their car flipped over the guardrail and landed in that ravine. The parents died instantly. The boy was never found. Since then, people have reported seeing him crying on the bridge during storms, warning drivers not to go down there sometimes moments before another accident happens. I didn't know what to say. My clothes were still dripping rain onto the floor. The waitress just gave me a sad look and said, "You did the right thing by stopping. He's not dangerous. He's just lonely." I never drove that road again. But last month, while driving through another part of the state, it started raining hard. I flipped on my wipers and caught sight of something in the rearview mirror. Just for a second. A small figure, standing on the side of the road, crying. I blinked and he was gone. Now, every time it rains at night, I can't help but wonder how many people see him. And Dante realized what he is trying to do. Maybe he isn't warning us to stay away from them. Maybe he's warning us not to become one of them. If you made it this far, primero need to know which of these highway stories chilled you the most. Was it the woman on Route 97? The truck that whispered keep driving? Or the crying boy on the overpass? Comment below and tell me what city you're from, because next time, your town might be the place where the next story begins. And remember, subscribe, hit the bell, and leave a like so you never miss another true horror story again. Drive safe tonight.